Welcome to the moment of reflection. Today is the second Sunday in ordinary time, ye see. When the Jews returned from exile, they thought they were coming back to a city that remained the same way before their departure. Instead, they came back and they met a homeland that was shattered. And so their hopes was lost. They were discouraged and disheartened. I could imagine them asking questions. Where do we begin from here? Who would restore Jerusalem back to the previous glories it had? In the context of this pain, the prophet Isaiah steps in to encourage the people that he, as a leader, would not remain silent until Jerusalem is completely restored. He performed a job that most religious leaders and even civil leaders must emulate. They must stand as intercessors on behalf of their people in moments of despair. The restoration which Isaiah promised them would come actually began when Jesus emerged. Jesus began this restoration at the wedding feast at Cana in Galilee. He will restore them to their former glories, but this time not the way they hoped for. He would restore them by presenting himself as a replacement for all their Jewish rites. At the door of every Jewish home, jars are kept with water. These jars are meant for purification. Jesus, like we see in the gospel of today, moved those jars that were meant for purification. And so he stands in for that very service, such that we no longer need water, ordinary water for purification, since Jesus purifies us with his precious blood. From the gospel also, Jesus changed water into wine for the first time in Cana. This symbolizes the old becoming new. So the story of the miracle at Cana presents Jesus as the one who brings joy into our lives. And it is evident, my dear friends, that if there is no joy, no peace, no happiness in your life, it means that you lack the abiding presence of Christ in you. In the second reading, Jesus gives his Spirit freely to us, and through his Spirit, he gives gifts that are meant to help the community blossom in glory. To some, he gave the gift of wisdom. To others, he gave the gift of faith. Yet to another, he gives healing. And to another, he gives the gift of tongue. Each according to the will of the Spirit, but meant for the same service in his kingdom. Now, there are points that we must bear in mind. First, leaders must not relent in their intercessory role. Second, they must have empathy that is capable of moving them into action for the good of their people. Christ is still restoring those who come to him in sincerity of heart. He is using these gifts that he has given freely to the church. He is using these gifts to restore and to bring people back anew. Avail yourself of this wonderful opportunity so that the light of Christ can shine on you and so that you can become a light to others. Once we have enveloped ourselves under the wings of the Lord, we begin to fly high and we begin to shine as bright as the stars. May the Lord bless you and have a very wonderful Sunday.